Jackson Bartlett is a poi spinner, juggler, and object manipulator based out of Oakland, California. He shared stories and thoughts about how his relationship with his props has changed over the years, both in positive and in negative aspects. This episode was such a wholesome and in-depth conversation that covered a lot of different topics. This guy is so unique, insightful, and talented. Support us on Patreon. We have some really exciting announcements coming up very soon, and you get access to exclusive benefits. With that being said, welcome to the Poidcast and enjoy the episode, my friends. Jax, thank you for joining us today. Episode number 17. It's a big one. I appreciate it. How are you doing today, man?
I'm doing well. I'm enjoying life. I just got back from Burning Man, so I'm decompressing from that. But overall, I'm having a great day.
Hell yeah, man. Yeah, well, we'll definitely have to get into that because I'm very curious. We'll just start things off, though. First of all, how old are you? And then secondly, where do you currently live?
So I'm 28, and I live in Oakland, California, so in the Bay Area.
Oakland. So many great artists in Oakland. That is badass. Now, take us all the way back to how and when you got introduced to poi.
So it's been almost 8 years. I kind of lose track of like the exact day or month, but it was definitely sometime in like the fall, moving into the winter of 2015, so 8 years ago. And I was going to college at the time, and I lived right next to my college campus. And there's a pretty strong burner presence in Reno. Like there's a lot of people that go to Burning Man just because it's such a close proximity to the actual event itself.
Sure.
So I had this neighbor, and his name was Ben. And he lived like right across the street, like literally like go across the street and here's the house right there. And we became friends. I'm not really sure how. I think we just had like overlapping social circles, and somehow I figured out he lived across the street. So he would come over every now and then and we would hang out. We were just like, like doing stupid stuff that kids in college do. And one night I'm just hanging out with my friends, like we're just chilling on the couch, and Ben comes over and he goes, "You guys want to see something cool?" And we're like, "Yeah, sure. Like, why not?" And he's like, "Come in the backyard." So we walk into the backyard, and he just has like this ceramic bowl, and he pours this mystery fluid into this bowl and dips these things on strings into this bowl and starts spinning them. He lights them on fire, obviously, and then starts spinning them. And all of us were just silent. Like, we're just standing there with our mouths open, and none of us even know what to say. We're like, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen. And like, unbeknownst to me at the time, like, he was really good. Like, he was an amazing poi spinner. Like back then, it was hard to like even know if I was looking at something that was amazing or it was just cool because of the fact that it was on fire. But I think just he transfixed all of us. Like he blew our minds, and he did it a few times, and then we kind of got curious, and I was like, "Hey, can I try that?" And so the first time I ever saw poi, I picked it up and I did like a full burn on fire. And, that was my introduction to spinning poi. It was off like a rocket from there. Like there was no stopping at that point. I was hooked immediately. All it took was that one moment and that one experience. And so
hell yeah.
Yeah, from there,
man.
It was cool. It was definitely a life-changing experience. From that moment on, I kind of just spun poi on fire. Like it wasn't like I was like practicing during the daytime or just the sun would go down. I'd spin fire for like 4 or 5 hours. And that was like every night, like 7 days a week. And yeah, it was a different time in my life, but it was amazing. It was the process of like going through something so transformational is really incredible.
Yeah, totally. And I mean, who would have known now that, all these years later, you're still just more into it than ever, Nice, man. Well, that is quite the introduction. I rarely am able to talk to somebody that spun fire for their first time being introduced to poi, so I feel like that's a pretty rare occurrence. So now, during the early days of your poi spinning journey career, who were the people that started inspiring you as you learned more about poi and maybe got involved online or consumed videos? Who were some of your biggest inspirations during that time?
Definitely. So actually on my Instagram the other day, I was feeling very nostalgic, and I posted a list of 5 people who really inspired me. So these are the people who like were real life people, like before the internet, before anything. These were like the people I saw who spun poi, and that was the world that I knew. I was like, I didn't realize there was a community outside of this. And so these 5 people are obviously my friend Ben, who put poi in my hands for the first time. And unfortunately, about a year ago, he actually passed away. But there are 4 others. One of their names is Jordan Taylor, also Cody Carraway, and then my friend Hendo, and my friend Maddie Way. And they're all friends. It's a circle of people who kind of hung out with each other at the time. So we would either go to my house or to Ben's house or to Cody's house up in the hills, and we would just spin fire together. And I was just like this little kid, like kind of like looking up at them, like idolizing these people and just thinking, oh my God, like this is the coolest thing I've ever seen. And I remember this distinct thought of, I can't believe any human being is this good at something. And so it was just fuel. It was like motivation of having this thing right in front of me that was just constantly giving me wonder and inspiration and sort of striking awe into me. So those, I'd say those people are like the original 5. And then one of the videos actually that I would love for us to watch together, the Marvin Ong Fire Poi video. That was
Let's get right into it. Let's get right into it.
Yeah, let's check out.
Yeah, we typically don't watch like we typically wait like 15, 20 to watch, but since we're on the topic of Marvin, dude, let's watch this video. That is my boy. Shout out to Marvin Ong. Iconic video. And yeah, I mean, this video inspired a lot of people. It's pretty crazy to look back at it now and just, you know, so nostalgic.
Yeah, this so that was when I got on the internet, right? I went to YouTube and I went in the search bar and I looked up Fire Poi and I found this video, and this was another one of those moments where I truly couldn't believe that a human being could reach this level of skill in any type of art form. And I watched this video dozens of times, like maybe hundreds of times.
Yeah, sorry, dude. I get you. I've definitely done that with videos, man. That is so cool. I'm tripping out myself right now. I get to see this man on Friday, dude. Let's go.
Oh, that's right. So you're going to Southwest Flow Fest, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah, Marvin runs the gala, so I get to perform on the same lineup as him. It's just truly an honor. I mean, I don't have enough good words and enough praise to say about Marvin. Truly a visionary in the way that he was spinning in terms of cleanliness, creativity, speed, just everything that he was doing as far as body isolations, and just his style was extremely what is the word I'm looking for? Just clean, I guess, in other words. Yeah,
definitely. Yeah, it was I mean, you said it right there. And even that move he just did where it's just the up and down stall and then he just switches the stalls really quick, like that one always got me. And the stall chasers where he like drops them back on each other, the stacks. And I didn't even know that these had names back then. I was just like, I look at this and I feel weird.
I don't feel right watching this.
Yeah.
Nice, dude. Yeah, this was I believe this burn was in Oregon, somewhere outside Portland, I believe was the story. If y'all are curious about this video or about who Marvin is, go check out episode number 2. It was with Marvin Ong, and we got to watch this video, talk about his legacy, his story. Beautiful, beautiful episode. What a just an incredible human being to watch and to talk to. I mean, extremely insightful as far as poi goes and all the other juggling and flow arts, you know, events and all this stuff. He's a real legend in the community for sure, you know.
Absolutely. Yeah, he's not only inspired people, but he's thrown many events, and he's just been an amazing facilitator for flow arts in general. And actually, just at Burning Man very recently, he was there, and so we got to spend a little bit of time together on Wednesday night. And I honestly had this very full circle moment where he like came up to me and was like, "Hey, I've been watching you, and I really like the things that you're doing. I think it's really cool." And so it was just this goosebump moment of like, oh my God, like the person who pretty much helped me push myself to get where I'm at today just came up to me and said he likes the things I do. He like gave me validation, and we got to have just a nice brief conversation where I also got to share with him how much the things he's done have impacted my life. And that was just a really special moment to have.
Man, that makes me want to cry, bro. I've been like in really similar situations, and it's just I mean, there's nothing else like it, you know, having an idol. I mean, one of the coolest things about this community is it is it's gotten bigger, it's gotten much larger, but it's also small enough that we can still run into each other, you know, at events and hang out and actually get to spend time with each other. And yeah, and then all of a sudden, you know, you consider one of your biggest inspirations to be one of your friends. It's a fascinating turn of events, but that is so cool, man. So tell me, while you're talking about Burning Man, I'm curious, how was that experience for you?
It was dry and then it was wet. No, this year was great. This is the third time I've been to Burning Man, and the first year was good. The second year, which was last year, was rough. It was really hot. I went with a new camp, and when you're starting a new camp, there's a lot of responsibilities. And so I had taken on a lead position within that group of people, and we were just working really hard in really intense conditions. I was going through a lot personally at the time. And then my cat ran away while I was there, and the person who was watching him like got a text through to me while I was at Burning Man, and she's like, "Your cat ran away. You need to come home." So I ended up leaving early, and it was just all around a really bad time.
No, oh, that's awful, especially the anxiety of being so far away and you can't really do anything about it.
Yeah. So this year was a redemption year. I went with a new camp of people, and I didn't know a lot of them, but I got to know them pretty well, and I thought they were all just amazing people. It's a camp called Vulcan Empire. If you're ever at Burning Man, check them out because they do lots of flow stuff. They have a fire jam every Monday, and it was just a great experience. It was definitely like a low pressure experience that really redeemed all of the bad things that happened last year. So spun a ton of fire to my heart's content. Spent a lot of, yeah, definitely. And, spent a lot of sunrises and sunsets with people I really care about. And then the rain came and it got muddy, and I thought that it would ruin things, but it actually made it even more fun in some ways. Like it was, you know, we're all in this kind of shitty situation. Let's just make the best of it and have fun.
Yeah,
so.
Dude, I can relate to that so hard. I've been in some peculiar situations with Joey, our tech guy, the man. Been in just conditions that were, you can't do anything else other than just to laugh about it and be like, well, we're here. So yeah, and you know, it is bonding. It's like a trauma bond, you know. Being in a tent with your homeboys, it's, you know, 70-mile-an-hour winds, you know, it's great. It's great. But yeah, dude, so I'm glad that Burning Man was a better year, or a redemption year. I like the way that you said that. That's very beautiful. And it's quite the journey to get there and, you know, do all the other responsibilities that you were talking about as far as setting up, tearing down, all that stuff. So I'm sure that was quite the exhausting journey, but worth it, I'm very sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
So on the festival topic, what was your first Flow Festival and when was that?
So my first Flow Festival must have been Fire Drums 2017. I might have that date wrong, but I think that's right, because it was about 2 years into Flow. And at that point, it finally got on my radar that, like, yeah, I go to music festivals, but it turns out there's also festivals for fire spinning. And that was, like, mind-blowing to me. I didn't even know that existed. I mean, honestly, back then, like, I was so insulated in terms of the people I interacted with in the Flow community that I didn't know there were props other than Poi. I didn't know that there was a such thing as a dragon staff. Like, I knew juggling existed, but I didn't know anything about like contact staff or fans or anything like that, or that they intersected, like that there was a unified community of flow arts. And so I don't remember how fire drums came on my radar. I think I just had friends locally who went, and so I decided to go check it out, and that was a life-changing experience. I mean, fire drums to this day is my favorite Flow festival. I think it has the best atmosphere, the best venue, and the best fire circle I've ever seen anywhere.
Ooh, all right, coming out, dude. What's up, fire drums? Hell yeah! I really gotta make it out. I'm sad that I have not made it.
I hope you do, man. I would love to see you there next year or sometime in the future.
Yeah, let's go. Let's make 20 fire drums 2024 a thing. That'll definitely happen. It's bummed I missed it this year, but yeah, you know, it's quite the crazy, you know, realization when you go to an event like this and you realize how many people there are that love it in the same way that you do, and you know, want to learn from each other, have great times. And you know what, I'll say it, flow festivals are way more fun than music festivals. I said it. I don't give a fuck. I have way more fun at flow festivals. I honestly don't really have no real interest in going to a music festival because I get to just experience the music, but then I also don't have 10,000 people around me. I have all my friends, and they all are into props, and not just seeing props while they're on drugs and like enjoying that aspect, but also like, yeah, I do this in my whole life aside from all this shit. You know what I'm saying? So it's so much more wholesome. I said it, music festivals. On the note of these festivals, man, what would you rather do? Would you rather perform or teach at a flow festival? What is your more desired?
Oh, teach 100%. I don't really perform. It's just not my thing. I have massive performance anxiety. I mean, I get anxious if more than like 3 people at a time are looking at me without having props in my hands. So I just don't really do stage stuff. I don't think it's for me. Every now and then, if we're like at a festival and it's late and my friend's like, hey, you should go get up on stage, I'm like, fuck it, it's late, I'm having fun, let's go rock it. But I don't like putting myself up on a stage. I don't like a lot of attention. I don't like the pressure of performing. And I just became okay with that. For a long time, my goal was like, oh, I want to be like on Evil Kid Media. I want to be up there on the big festival stages.
I haven't heard that one in a minute, dude. That's funny.
That was the OG inspiration of
for real. Oh, shit. That's hella funny. Okay, but no, I mean, I can say I can relate, and I do perform, so it seems odd, but god damn it, I fight through performance anxiety like crazy every single time. But I don't know, I'm kind of trying to develop a new relationship with it and to really take the stance as far as like, I want to showcase what I love about Poi and the patterns and the concepts that I personally do in my free time and what I value in Poi. So I try to take that approach, but I completely understand as far as, not wanting to do that. And I'm going to keep bringing it up because this is such a good one. And if you guys haven't seen the interview, please go back and watch it. Cassandra Smythe had this beautiful quote, and I'm not going to do it verbatim. I'm not going to say it verbatim, but she was essentially just making the comparison of yoga, and she said something like, oh, well, people don't go and watch somebody do yoga on stage, in front of thousands of people. It's just like my meditation just happens to be a performance art, but I don't do it for, I do it for me. You're right. So it's a meditation type thing. And I think that is a very common approach. People really do like to just do it for themselves. They literally just enjoy the process, right? So I can definitely understand where you're coming from as far as that goes.
Yeah, definitely. I think something I realized a long time ago is exactly what you were just talking about, is that the reason that I started doing this and the reason that it continues to give me joy is because it is a personal practice in meditation and presence. The flow state is something that can be shared, and I love when it's shared because when I see it in others, it inspires me. But like, I like to cultivate it within myself, and then if others are around to witness, then they can draw that inspiration. But it's hard for me to like take that and then replicate it on a stage, because then I feel like I have to like push myself into that mind state instead of letting it happen organically.
Totally.
And so, like, even in the fire circle, I try and hide behind other people. Like, I don't mind if people watch me, but like, I try to make a point to like push myself into the corner so I can just like be in my comfortable space, somewhere that feels like comfy.
I get you. You're so damn talented. It's crazy. I mean, but we have to keep in mind that, it's not just like, oh, well, I mean, I don't know. This is weird to say it like this and actually verbalize it, but like, knowing that you're talented, but it's like, okay, well, I still don't really want to, put myself on the spot like that. So I get it. I would find you in the corner of the circle and just pull up my chair and enjoy it.
People
So
actually do.
so as far as like a goal of yours, if you have goals in flow arts, I'm assuming that you do. What do you think would be a primary goal in your flow arts career or journey? What do you want to do?
To have fun and to encourage other people. Those have become the single two most important things to me. And it's been a long process to get there, because it used to be performance and it used to be travel the world and teach. And like, sure, it'd be great to travel the world and teach. You know, I think that's a goal for a lot of people. Who doesn't want to go see new places and meet cool people? But fundamentally, my two primary interests are to experience joy in the arts and movement, and to encourage others. And that's been a really big emphasis the last few years for me, is to seek out people of all levels, whether they even spin props or not, and encourage them and empower them. And like when people spin, like I really like to do this thing where I sit there and I just watch. I give them my full attention for the entire time that they're spinning. And it could be anybody, you know, like somebody who just picked up poi, someone who's been doing it for 6 years, someone who spins dragon staff, and just sit there. And afterwards just be like, I really liked watching you. Like, that was special. Thank you for sharing. And that's become important, because I want to be the person who's been that person for me in my life, of somebody who's like encouraged me, because those moments are not only meaningful, like I still remember them to this day.
Ah, man. Yeah, that's so important. I really like that you said that. I mean, we can all, hopefully all of us, I say all of us, but hopefully a lot of us can look back at times like that and think, you know, this person, they're, you know, so much more experienced than me, or so much better than me, or whatever, and they took the time to, you know, see me and encourage me. And those moments are so important for young aspiring artists, as well as people that have been doing it for a long time. So I think that's a beautiful motivation. I'm very glad that you shared that. It's having fun too, man. That's what it's all about, right?
Exactly.
Bo would disagree. Sorry, Bo, if you're watching this. Bo's like, no fun. Just kidding. He does have fun. He does have fun, but he has less fun than a lot of us.
That grind mentality is real too. I feel like it's a balance, because like the grind can be fun. Honestly, sometimes I enjoy it, but it can also be work, you know, like, and I think for him, he's like genuinely trying to push the boundaries of what's possible. And sometimes that is not a fun process, because it means that you have to work harder than anyone has worked at something in a lot of senses. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Sorry, Bo. I know you have fun, man, but you know, he just has to be better than all of us as far as at poi juggling. So on that note, as far as practicing, training, I would like to get into this, because do you take a more regimented drilling style approach, or do you take a more relaxed approach to where you're doing kind of like whatever you feel like doing at the moment?
Yeah, so since this is the Poidcast, I'm going to start with poi regimen, and then I'll get into general. Those are two totally different things.
Okay.
So I mean, these days I spin less poi than I used to by quite a significant factor. And that's kind of where like the having fun thing comes in, is I actually put my poi down for almost 2.5 years. I pretty much didn't spin at all. So that was during COVID. So basically 2019 to like mid 2021.
Wow.
And that was like a really rough period in my life for a lot of different reasons. And so when I came back, I was like just even starting to relearn how to spin poi and how I felt about spinning poi. And it's become this thing that's more about comfort than it is about tech or about learning new stuff. Like I've learned maybe like 5 new tricks in the last 3 years. And so with poi specifically, it's almost all flow. Like there's no going out there and like practicing something, and there's no going out there and like, oh, I'm going to learn this new thing today. It's like, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to have the most fun I possibly can. And so it's very mood dependent, because it's like very based on inspiration. Like I've thought a lot about practice theory and how you need discipline in addition to motivation in order to level up. But with poi, it's like, I want to spin poi right now. I'm going to go fucking spin some poi.
Yeah, dude.
Go have fun. You know, I'm going to get weird with it. I'm going to move my body. I'm going to make weird faces, and I'm going to have fun. So that's poi. That's the primary goal, is to make it feel as good as possible. And that is typically 100% flow. But with my other approach to props, I'm like working on and trying to actively get better at, which I would namely say is triple staff, I usually go out and I warm up, you know, like give myself some flow time to get into a flow headspace. And then depending on the day, if I'm not feeling the flow, then I'll go straight into drills and I'll work on like 1 to 5 things I'm really trying to learn. And I'll kind of like cycle through those. And so usually a trick I don't learn like a entire new trick in one session because it's pretty complex. But there's usually like, I try to make measurable progress. So I'll spend like an hour drilling and then I'll go back to flow and just work on kind of rewarding myself for like working hard for a bit and give myself time to like decompress and chill and get back to like, oh yeah, I'm doing this because it's fun. I'm doing this because I like it. And
right,
having that be the tail end of the session of like doing something good for myself and something that I enjoy doing. So that's like my general practice regimen, is giving myself time to like warm myself up and then going through structured practice, either like picking a trick from a video and saying, I want to learn this today, or going back to a framework that I've been spending time on and trying to make some increment of progress. And then at the end, basically rewarding myself.
Right. No, I mean, that's a beautifully said. I rarely get to talk to somebody that, you know, pretty much exactly summarizes what I do with poi. For the most part, that's pretty much what I do with poi, almost to a T. So I very much understand that as far as pushing yourself and then also having the balance of having fun, which Bo does as well. Sorry, one more time, just on the subject. I know you do have fun. Anyways, so on the multiple different props, because you're very into staff juggling, and you're more, I think it's fair to say you're more oriented towards improving at staff juggling right now than poi, right? Yeah. So what do you think? When was you said it was 2019 that you really started picking up triple staff? Is that right?
So let's see. When I started spinning in general and got into flow arts, I was living in Reno, and I moved back home to the Bay Area in 2019. And it was right around then that I started triple staff. But there were not a particular amount of resources available. I also had 3 staffs that weighed different weights, which made things challenging. So yeah, I like learned the basic chest cascade, which is just that pattern that everybody does and that I often do, where you're just throwing on one shoulder and then the other shoulder. And I probably did that for like 6 months, and that was the only trick that I practiced. And then right around then is when COVID hit, and I just stopped flowing. Like there were no props in my hands and no props in my life for about 2.5 years. So it's basically been like post-COVID until now that triple staff has actually been an exploration that I've been working on and doing any kind of serious work in.
So, and we don't have to get into to necessarily why you stopped, but let's get into why you picked them back up. Did you miss it? Did you feel like you were kind of getting back on your bullshit? I mean, what was the spark to get you back in?
Oh, I definitely missed it. This may get a little philosophical, but all throughout this process of flow, even from the beginning, I was always thinking about how it relates to life. Like I've always had struggles with mental health and feeling like I have purpose and meaning. And when I started spinning, it felt like I had purpose. It felt like I had meaning in my life, and it gave me a sense of identity. And so for the first few years, I was doing it between 6 and 10 hours a day for 7 days a week. That was all I did. I would go to school, I would go to work, and I would spin. I wouldn't watch TV. I wouldn't read books. I really wouldn't talk to people unless they wanted to talk about spinning. And I trained, I would just drill, and that's all I did. And that's back then. That was like when I was really practicing. Like to validate Bo, I wanted to be the best in the world. That was my goal. But it just changed after about 3 or 4 years. My life changed. There was a lot of life changes happening, and 2, things started to shift. Of like, I realized that I had trouble communicating with people if we weren't speaking about flow, and that started to bother me because it affected my ability to form friendships. It affected my ability to connect with people, and yeah, right around the time that I moved back home, like things started to get difficult. I had to grow up in a sense. I had to, get like a job. I had to figure things out because I'd graduated college. I was moving on in my life. I moved away from my friends. And as things got more real and got harder, I kind of just like spent less and less time with my props. And that was a really, really hard process because it was my identity. I had built everything in my life around this. And I slowly started to realize that I had to understand who I was as a person without those things. And that if I couldn't do that, ultimately, I wouldn't really be happy. And so it wasn't on purpose that I put them down, but I'd noticed every day the practice was a little less. It went down to 3 hours, and then it went down to 2 hours, and then half an hour, and then a few days a week. And then when COVID hit, there was so much going on. I was just like, you know what, I can't do this right now. And I'd look at them over in the corner and I'd be like, I want to spin. And then I'd pick them up and I just felt nothing. And that was hard. I mean, I felt like my soul was missing, you know, I felt like there was like a hole inside of me. And finally, post-COVID, I feel like even though there was a lot of really difficult things that happened during that time, like even outside of not spinning, I feel like I learned a lot about myself as a person. I spent a lot of time doing deep internal work and work that I'm still doing right now, very actively. But I realized that I can exist as a human being without flow in my life. Like if it were to be taken from me, I would be heartbroken. But I could still go on with my life. I developed other hobbies. I developed coping skills. I went to therapy. Like there was a lot of things I started doing for myself. And I think that enabled me to feel confident enough to pick up poi again. And that's why I shared those goals with you earlier. Like it used to be to train kind of, you know, like Ash Ketchum, like I want to beat the Elite Four. I want to beat the world. But now it's like, I want to have fun. I don't want it to be any kind of pressure. I just want to enjoy my life, and I want it to be a thing that I do because I feel passion for it and because I'm excited about learning new things and connecting with others.
Getting back to the origins, you know, getting back to, you know, because when you first picked it up, you didn't, you know, it was before we were tainted by like, you know, all these grandiose ideas of like, I'm going to be fucking doing this and doing that. And then, but you're just having fun, you know, in the very, very beginning. So that's like why we started doing it. Right. Yeah. So I feel getting back to that point. I mean, it must have felt, you know, really good trying to, or I guess, you know, finally getting to that place where you were able to have fun again and feel something and let yourself have fun and not be so, you know, pressured and having so much weight on your shoulders as far as expectations that we set for ourselves, you know, because that can be really heavy.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I remember this moment. I don't remember how long ago it was, but I was like, I miss not knowing stuff. when I didn't know anything, everything was novelty, you know, like everything was new, everything was exciting. There was no framework. I could just like move my poi or like toss it. And then I realized I was like, felt kind of like I was stuck on a train track. Like everything I'm doing is contained inside of a framework I already know. Like, how do I break the framework? How do I get outside of this box that I've created for myself? And that was a crazy thought to me. And that's when I started to try and get weird, you know, like, that's when I'm like, okay, I know how to do some technical things. How do I make it weirder? Like, how do I make people feel all different types of ways? You know, how do I feel all different types of ways? How do I move my body more? How do I make weird faces? How do I like put the poi in a place where you don't think it's supposed to go? And how do I do that?
Totally. Yeah. Like really abstract ideas and taking it into a new avenue. I mean, we get into these like really hard habits and we steer super hard one way or the other. And then finally we kind of pull ourselves back and we're able to add stuff from that hiatus that we took of certain ideas and kind of bring it all together in a really interesting style. So, yeah, man. Well, thanks for sharing that. I mean, that was very insightful and I feel like very, very personal. So I very much appreciated hearing that. I do want to get into some of the beautiful recommendations and your favorite YouTube videos that you had sent our way. Let's get into a few. I'm just gonna let Joey pick out one, and we'll see what you had sent us. Oh, dude! All right, looked over. I took a peek. We got Dave Static. Shout out to Dave, man. Really excited to get through some of this video. This is essentially. I want you to break down why this video is significant to you and why do you think this stood out to you so much?
Absolutely. Okay, so I don't know how many people have seen this video. I feel like not enough. That's the first thing that I'll say. So Dave is a poi spinner. I don't actually know too much about his background. I know he's on the East Coast, and I don't know how much he spins poi anymore, but he, for a while, was posting videos, and he created this series specifically. So this is the first video in a series of, I believe, 10 or 11 videos that are a breakdown of how to spin using 3D. So how to basically navigate a 8-point grid with your box mode and your anti-spin, or your box mode and your diamond mode points, and how to navigate that grid in a 3-dimensional space. So there is audio on this video. You can definitely check it out on your own time.
Yeah, we'll link it. We'll link it. Y'all go watch this video. Show Dave some love because he's talking about his ideas real quick, but continue.
Yeah. So I personally, when people ask how to spin 3D, I send them this video. I think everybody should watch this video. I honestly think it's the most important poi tutorial that's been created for tech poi spinning personally.
Ooh.
Like, this is where 20 to 30% of my style comes from. The way that he explains this concept is so good and so clear. He's definitely, he gets into a lot of tangents and he rambles a lot, but I find it very entertaining. I think the whole series is a great watch. But he breaks down this concept so well of like, yes, you have your wall plane flower, but you can also transpose that into a horizontal space. You can also transpose that to the side of your body. So you're essentially standing inside of this 3-dimensional flower. And if somebody were to rotate a camera around you and use a long exposure, you would be drawing your normal anti-spin flower, but you could draw it in every different orientation, and you would essentially be standing inside of a 3-dimensional flower.
Yep.
And so what he's teaching people is how to fluently create flowers in any orientation, including crossing orientation. So one hand could be in buzzsaw and one hand could be in 3D, and how to like create full complex hybrid patterns out of these shapes.
Yo, shout out to Dave, man. I know I already said it, but that's badass, man. And yeah, what you're saying as far as the concept has become far less novel to me nowadays. I feel like we kind of lose the magic. It's hard not to kind of, you get a different perspective and you view it. It kind of just gets watered down, essentially. Like the whole like blowing of my mind doesn't really happen. That's so much anymore. But what I'm saying is, that took a long time to build for me. That took essentially seeing my grids and seeing all of the pattern, like seeing the flower system laid out in front of me. I can see that, but it's because I've spent 15 years spinning, and I've like dedicated it's been my life for a long time. But having a video like that, break it down in a way that makes sense for people who are just putting the pieces together still. It's really, really is so important for us to have resources like that. So a beautiful video, great reference. I very much appreciate that you sent this to us. Now, what are we getting into here? What video is this?
So this is ᴚᴜ, I think his last name is. He goes by Huck Designs now. He makes triads and levy wands. But he used to post a lot of tech blogs on YouTube, and he is really good at tangles. Specifically, tangles are not my style, but I really appreciate his fluency with them and his understanding of them. He's also just got a nice style. Like he doesn't put a lot of force into the poi, but it still goes where he wants it to. He's just buttery. Like he just spins nice. And I also really like the background in this video. I think it's really well edited, and I think he chose a really nice setting for it.
Yeah, absolutely gorgeous. Yeah, sweet. Well, I say this all the time on the podcast, but as the viewers are also finding out, they're learning about new spinners, and they're seeing who are these people's inspirations, and we're all kind of discovering more poi spinners as it goes along. I am also discovering poi spinners, so this is very helpful for me as well to see other people's inspirations and run into videos like this that I've still never seen. So this is one of the reasons I absolutely love the podcast.
Definitely. I think this one's a hidden gem. His contact, his inversions, his no beat tosses, all just like smooth and really subtle. It's the kind of thing where like you have to look at it closely to like realize how good it is sometimes. I feel like there's poi spinners out there that you have to spin poi, and 2, you have to be paying attention to realize how fucking good they are.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, and already, I mean, you brought up tangles, but I feel a really similar way. my Tangle game is trash, y'all. It's so bad. I'm just gonna say it. You know, if you asked me to show you all the Tangles I know, it'd probably take less than a minute, my guy. But yeah, I love watching Tangles. Very cool, and I love that people are exploring that concept. Now we're gonna get into another video, a brilliant series by the man himself, ᴚᴜᴜ. Joey, do you know what year was this released? Are you able to see? Oh, okay, yeah, 8 years ago. Holy shit, crazy!
It's crazy because this still holds up today. Like, it's
oh my god,
next level shit.
No, totally. I mean, dude, even oh man, what goodness, what video was that? Drawing a blank here. Even Predator Boy has still held up so well, even to this day. So Tim has just remained relevant and on the cutting edge of tech. Whether he admits it or not, I don't care. He is. I don't care, Tim. You are too good, my friend. You've been being very creative, and like I said, on the edge of being relevant for his whole koi spinning career. So
absolutely, yeah, he's still the guy. Like,
yeah,
it was him and Marvin and unfortunately Chris Kelly, who were like some of my original online inspirations, both for 3-poi and for 2-poi. Just the level of the boundary that they were pushing. Like Tim for his cleanliness, like his understanding of patterns and frameworks, his cleanliness, and then the fact that he could integrate a lot of that 2-poi tech very seamlessly into 3-poi was just mind-blowing. Like there was like 10 different videos from Tim I wanted to put on here. I wanted to put Predator Poi because that's the first one I found. But I feel like this series is really the most representative of kind of just his legacy, like the fact that this is from 8 years ago and it's still at this level of advanced tech.
Oh my god, it's crazy.
It's crazy.
It's absolutely crazy.
Yeah,
and I don't know if I'm sure you have seen it, Jax, but you should check out the 2019 jam sessions or whatever, like tech sessions. It's like 49 minutes or something. It's almost like I know the exact amount of time the video is. It is incredible. Literally my favorite tech boy video of all time. It is beautiful. I've seen that thing like I don't even know how many times all the way through, and I still just, I mean, rarely do I find videos that nowadays truly inspire me, but I really do mean it. After I watch some of these videos by Tim, man, I really feel inspired. Like I actually feel it, and I really want to play around with new concepts, and I want to learn. Those videos are incredibly important for us to still be like, wow, there's still so much to do. There's so much that other people are working on that I can still go so much further,
Right. Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's things like this where when I get into that mindset of like, fuck, I don't want to learn any more poi, like I've learned a lot. I just want to chill and coast. And then I watch shit like this and I'm like, yo, I want to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. Why do I still have so far to go? Yeah, I know. Awesome. Yeah, this whole series, like you were saying, is brilliant. So many, gems throughout this time period that he was releasing videos. He's kind of slowed down a little bit as far as like releasing tons of videos, but it's for understandable reasons. And if you guys want to know, guess what? I did an episode with Tim. What episode was it? Was it episode 11? It was. Go check it out. It's so good. Tim is the man. Beautiful.
Yeah, it's just, oh man, some of that, like the stacks and the anti-brids.
So good.
There's definitely a lot of things that I've like pulled and integrated directly into the way that I spin from a lot of the things that he does.
I was watching a Drex video the other day about he released a video probably like 2 years ago or something, asking a rhetorical question: who is the poi goat? And I went back just because I'd already seen it, but it had been a while since I'd seen it, and I wanted to hear again kind of his perspective on the matter. And he had a really good. I'm gonna butcher this. I don't want to quote him verbatim, so this is not exactly what he said, but it was something along the lines of, Tim does everything. He's not restricted in one style of poi. I mean, he really embodies. He learns all of it. Like he learns at least the base pattern of so many different ideas, so many different concepts, but he's putting his own twist on it, and he's integrating them all in this seamless, crazy manner, you know?
Yeah, it's the knowledge of tricks, and it's also the transitions. I think the way that he moves between different things it's just flawless. Like, it's so seamless. You can't even tell that he's moved from one thing to another until after it happens.
Oh, it's so good. Yeah. And all these very, very subtle just tweaks and manipulations, but it's true. It's true. He's just like manipulating these tiny little base concepts and again, throwing them all in this crazy ride that he just takes us on. Yeah, these are beautiful. I wonder where in Australia this was taken.
So this is Belarus, which I think that's a country, right?
Oh, my lack of geography knowledge is showing, and I'm embarrassed. But yeah, that would be a place, right? Yeah, great. And then I believe we have one or two more. Oh, beautiful.
This is a classic. This is another one around the time I found that video of Marvin that I found this one. And honestly, for me, one, I just like Lindsey Stirling, so it spoke to me because it had like that violent dubstep in the background. Mm-hmm. But more than like the moves that she's doing, it's just the way that she moves. Like, you can tell she's in love with what she's doing. And that, to me, like on Marvin's side, it was like graceful and slow and controlled. And this is just like pure energy and joy. Like, she's just pouring her soul into this, and you can see that. And that's always what stood out about this video to me.
Ooh, and so aesthetic as well. I mean, yeah, what a beautiful take. I mean, this shot is excellent. It's very foggy, snowy, got some blue. It's just all very cinematic. Like, yeah, this is fantastic. I've never seen this.
Yeah, this one, and it was another one I just looked up, like Poi on YouTube, and it has like 300,000 views on it.
One of the ones that just blew up.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's because it is really nicely shot. Like, it's a really well shot and edited video.
And thank God she's actually doing some great tech, and she's really, I mean, this is sometimes back in the day a video would blow up, and it was, you know, fairly basic stuff, which again, we don't have any kind of, you know, I'm losing the word here. If that's okay. Like, we want the art form to be shared in any facet that it can be, but also we want the people that deserve the limelight to be kind of at the forefront of like, hey, this is what Poi is, you know. So, but yeah, seeing videos that did really well and then also have great tech and that were shot very well, that's the best. This is what we love to see.
Definitely. Yeah, I just love that smile on her face. You can like see it from far away.
Yeah, totally. Extremely wholesome. Beautiful. So I do want to get into a topic because we've already cruised along. Oh goodness, we're already 47 minutes through. So I want to go to a topic outside of Poi inspirations. This isn't something that we've tackled a whole lot on the podcast necessarily, but in terms of like flow art sponsorships, what's your perspective on this whole era that we're in as far as like flow art sponsorships and being sponsored, being on a team? Like, where do you kind of stand on all that?
Right. Yeah, that's definitely a topic that becomes, I feel like, more and more relevant as time goes on, as kind of like the landscape of flow and also of prop production and sales goes. I grew up skateboarding, and so in skateboarding, that's how it works. Like, to make money skateboarding, you need a sponsor, because the sponsor is who pays you, right? Like, they sell products, and they give you a cut of their products in return for essentially promoting what they do. Like, you're in their video, and because you're in their video wearing their brand, then people want to buy that brand, or like you refer people to that brand. And so, like, coming from that culture, I was like, that's what I want to do, you know, like, that's how I know that I've made it, is like when I have a sponsor and I'm like getting shit and like promoting this company and like maybe like traveling around representing them. Yep. And so that was kind of like the goal, like, one, to perform on stage for, you know, organizations like Evil Kid, and two, to like be sponsored by a team. And so after a while it became Flow on Fire. Like, that's where I set my sights. And after some amount of time of trying to make that happen, it did happen. And it was really great. Like, I think that they are an excellent company. I think that like they make fantastic props. They are really supportive of their team. But it was, and so I actually didn't make this public, but I recently left Flow on Fire, I would say within the last 6 months. And it was not because of anything to do with my relationship with them. It was because of what sponsorship did for me in terms of how I felt about Flow. I feel like joining Flow on Fire was right around the time that I had moved from Reno back to my parents' place for a little while. And it felt this sudden pressure, like I already made enough content to fulfill the needs of the sponsorship, but suddenly I feel like I had to make that content. And that was hard. That was a weird transition of suddenly feeling like I had to produce things in order to continue to retain this thing that I had achieved.
Right.
And I feel like that sort of was tied in with like making it harder and harder to look at those props in the corner and want to use them. And so I noticed that like over time, like there was months when I didn't put out a video on Instagram or anywhere else. And I feel like that was sort of tied up in it. So it was an eye-opening experience because like I know for some people that's like it works great for them, you know, like it's a beneficial arrangement and it boosts them creatively and it allows them to travel and do things. I think ultimately it just ended up being not for me, and I don't think that means it's not for everybody, but like I was surprised at the nature of that experience because I thought that it would take me to the next level and like make me push myself even harder, and it had this opposite effect. But
no, I think that's a really important perspective to share, man. I mean, if it changes the way that, you know, you're interacting with your prop and your relationship with your prop in a negative way, then, you know, you need to do whatever is best for you and Poi. It's kind of, you know, it is a very much a relationship between, you know, every artist and their prop. So, yeah, I mean, and I can totally understand kind of the pressure to be, you know, putting out videos, especially, you know, God, it's like how many unique videos can do I have the capacity of coming out with in a, you know, over the span of a couple months. It's difficult. I was grinding through videos, and you know, slowly I had realized, I was like, wow, well, my pockets go deep because I didn't release videos for probably until I was like 12 years in. I mean, I really didn't film. I didn't put out any videos at all. I just, again, did it because, you know, we love it, right?
Right.
But yeah, my pockets went super deep. So I was like, oh, well, I have all this stuff to show. I can, you know, I can do this. I can do some of this old stuff. I'll pull and kind of incorporate it into a new idea. But you get to this point where, you know, you put out a couple hundred videos and you're like, okay, well, fuck, I've kind of gone through a lot of the stuff that I know how to do at this point. So like, it's like, okay, well, now I just have to release only new things going from here on out. But yeah, there is a weird pressure and kind of, you know, this, yeah, like pressure within yourself to be releasing new and fun, exciting ideas. And, yeah, I mean, it's the pressures, you know, that we feel in the ways that we're perfectionists at our own level, and you know, so I can totally understand that. Now, with your kind of relationship changing with Poi over the years, as far as sponsorships and kind of the different waves of love and kind of, you know, neglect that you've gone through with Poi, where are you right now? Are you just I know you said your main goal is just to have fun, to encourage others, but do you think have you found kind of like a resurgence in the last year or two with Poi, or do you think you've just kind of retained the love that you used to have for it?
You know, I think it's turning a corner. I think that it was not even on my radar for a long time, and now that I've been picking it up a little more recently, the goal was to have fun, and I think that was to sort of facilitate a re-entry into doing it regularly. And not making it too stressful to where I didn't want to do it again. So it was really just a process of being gentle with myself and like allowing myself the time I needed to just like reform a meaningful and regular relationship with it. But I do think that corner is starting to turn of like, I'm starting to feel inspired again. And I haven't like, yeah, it feels good, man. It's like, there's still ways to go, but like I think just the fact that I've been spinning a little bit more 3-poi is meaningful, because like 3-poi is a fucking grind, and I know that you
yes it motherfucking is, dude. Holy shit.
So like just the fact that I've had 3 in my hands, like I can spin for a little bit, but if I'm picking those up, it's because there's work to be done. Like, there's training to do, shit to learn.
Yep.
even though I probably spun three for like 3 or 4 years before kind of putting poi down for a bit, I was just barely scratching the surface of what I knew I could get to. And I could like see that in my head. Like I could see the picture and it was there. But like the literal physical requirements and knowledge to get there was like still this missing piece. And so in a way it's never ending, right? Like you'll never really get to that point that you ultimately like visualize in your mind.
Because it keeps moving further. It's just, it's like we get there, oh God, I can't reach it. You know, it's like, the barrier just keeps moving along. I feel that, dude.
Yeah, you're just like climbing up that ladder forever. But it's fun. It's super fun, especially if you're like motivated and you really want to be climbing that ladder. So I have been trying to get back to it for sure. I think if anything, if I'm really putting work into something, it would be 3. It would be like juggling poi and then also working on some patterns. So I would say relationship with poi is good right now. I've been spinning a lot of fire poi, and like for me, fire poi is just fun. Like it's just pure.
Oh yeah.
And so I've been, I went to the burn, and then there's a local fire jam every Friday, like a mile from my house. So I'll go out and spin fire there. So that's a good chance to just have poi in my hands for like a few hours, a few times a month, basically. And that is really good. And then when I go out for my practice sessions, like in the past, it's been mostly triples, and I'll sometimes pick up the poi. But like now, sometimes it's like I only bring my poi outside. So for that like hour or 2 hours, it's like, okay, we're getting
that's right. Okay, well, dude, the reason I ask, I remember distinctly seeing your video, one of your videos. It was December of last year. And for some reason, like I had been following you for a minute, but I saw this video that you released, and I don't know, it just, there was this level of like swag and like fluidity. It was so good. I just remember seeing it and I was like, okay, like he's for real. I don't know. I just saw it and I was like, okay, this man, he was kind of like off my radar. It's because we can only have like a limited number of people that we're like actively paying attention to. But I don't know, man. Yeah, December 2022, I saw your videos and I was like, dude, this guy is murdering. Like, I don't know how I didn't notice before. I was like, dude, this guy's so good, dude. Like, so I hope that is encouraging for you to know that other people see that spark in you, and they see, your creativity, your dedication, and how unique you are. So, yeah, just huge props, man. I just wanted to give you a shout out for a second and say that I have seen the spark,
Thanks, man. I really appreciate that. Yeah, I would say honestly, like that's probably around the time that I started doing it more regularly. And there's this thing I've noticed, and part of it I honestly attribute to me being a little lazy. But when I post videos, I always just post the best take. I don't ever like plan out what I'm gonna post. There's 0 of my videos have any sort of like sequence planning to them. They're almost always, they're pretty much always off the top of the head. And I usually just post like the first thing that's good, like I'll film for like 5 minutes or 10 minutes and take like the best clip from that. So I feel like often like I will post, sometimes it's good because like the flow feels really good that day, and so it just ends up being good. And sometimes it's like it either doesn't translate well on camera, even if I know that it was like something pretty cool, or I don't know. Sometimes I feel like it just like doesn't quite translate through the video format. So then there's some where I'm like, this is a banger. Like I just actually threw down something cool and got it on.
Let's go, yeah.
But, like it's sometimes it's inconsistent, and so that is something I'm like would like to be better about, is just like polishing my content a little bit. But I also like, I don't know, I just like throwing up a video and like thinking about it, just kind of like, like footage that I can throw up. And I feel like the real experience is like getting to spin with people in real life and seeing how it compares, because it's so different sometimes between the life.
It is totally. Okay, I don't know why I've been doing this on the podcast, but like I'm just gonna start issuing challenges to my friends on this podcast. I don't know why I'm like this, but like I want to issue you a challenge, and I want you to put out at least one video that is choreographed. I want to see, it could be 30 seconds, it could be 45. It is up to you, my friend, but I want to see a planned sequence, and I want to see it put together. Just one video, man. Just a healthy, fun challenge for yourself, because I want to see choreographed Jackson videos. So like, and I love all your videos, it was so crazy to hear you just say that that they're not choreographed, and you do just kind of, you know, flow and then pick the best segment and put it out. Because I'll tell you, I very, very rarely do that. I probably 1 out of 100 videos are like, oh, that was completely off the dome. Almost all of my shit is choreographed. Pretty much the entire thing. I was having this thing for a while where I'd walk into the studio and I would start, you know, I'd warm up and all this shit, but I would start with the opening and I would just build a sequence. Just every day that I walked into the studio, I just build it, and then at the end I'd get down and film it. And I just got into this rhythm of, you know, sequence building, essentially. I find it to be very, very fun and challenging to be like, okay, what would be fun to throw in after this? Where could I take this that would be really like an interesting and fun turn? And I think trying to build it almost like a story or like a puzzle or whatever you want to call it, like arranging it in that way can be very fun, you know, at the same time. A different kind of fun, but still fun.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think there's a ton of value in that. And it's something I've wanted to get better at, because exactly like you're talking about, like it allows you to kind of like take these puzzle pieces and put them together so you can see this really cool picture that you have.
Yeah.
In your mind. And I think part of it is like, I'm just impulsive and I have ADHD. So it's like hard for me to sit and like think about one step to the next. But it is a skill I'd like to practice, because I feel like it's a useful poise skill. It's a useful life skill, like to like really sit there and exercise the powers of your mind to like create something and to do it very intentionally. And you're not the first person I've talked to about this. I feel like Logan, what's Logan's last name? Logan Harris. Yeah. So I was chatting with him at Packfire a few years ago about the same thing. And he has a very similar mentality of like thinking about the orientation of where each poi is at each moment in time and how those fit together to create a larger sequence or like a picture. And he really loves visualizing that out. And so like the two of you are like some of the best poi spinners I've ever seen. And like you're out there really doing that work to like put those things together. So I feel like you guys might be onto something.
You know, and my brother will attest to this. Ever since I was a little kid, I think I started doing that when I was like 14. Yeah, I think it was like over 10 years ago where I really just started having this approach of like I kind of just described. And nowadays when, you know, me and my brother chat every day, and we had talked about it the other day, and he's like, dude, you've been like that forever. You just started putting together like the little sequences, and you really just started gravitating towards that style. But, you know, to each their own, and it helps you develop in different ways. So they're both important. You definitely want to be able to, you know, just kind of let loose and freestyle, not think about it. But yeah, the same can be said. It's very good to kind of have the other approach as well. So I do want to get into some of the closing you know, topics that we have remaining, the ones that I really want to hit. So first of all, who are some of your current biggest inspirations? I know I'm putting you on the spot a little bit right now, but think about, you know, some of the people that are really pushing you and motivating you to continue to learn. And, you know, this could be for, you know, I just love their style, I love the way that they spin, or what they're doing in poi. Like any of these things apply to who's inspiring you the most right now.
Yeah, so one of my friends who lives here in the Bay Area named ᴜᴇ'ʀᴇ, he goes by 괰Flow on Instagram. Just a really good friend of mine, has always pushed me to be better, and he's an incredible poi spinner. I mean, he just absolutely kicks ass at everything he does. He actually works at Flow Toys.
Oh, cool.
But yeah, he's always motivating me. I love spinning with him because he's been spinning for like probably 14, 15 years at this point. And so I love getting together with him because we have very different styles, but we mesh very well. And he's just always like, when I'm around him, his energy is very infectious, and it just like motivates me to continue learning and to continue working and learning things I've never worked on before. My friend Samwise, who incidentally also works at Flow Toys.
Shout out to Samwise, dude. I love that guy. I fucking love that guy. Sam, I hope you're watching. Samwise, I hope you're watching this video. I'm personally saying what's up to you, my friend. I need to get you on this podcast. Samwise is an incredibly nice person. If you don't know who he is, brilliant artist. Doing so much with double meteor as well and 4-poi, which is crazy. Yeah. This guy will blow your mind. Yeah. Continue. Just had to say that. shout out to Samwise.
Oh yeah, no, I second that plug. I mean, that man, the things I've seen him do with 4-poi and double meteor is beyond my comprehension sometimes. I mean, he's basically spinning 2-poi with 4-poi. It's crazy.
Yeah, no, seriously. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. He's always pushing me to spin 4-poi too as well.
Yeah, he's all about the symmetry. So yeah, he just pushes me because he has so much knowledge, and he's very encouraging and very nice. Who else right now? I feel like, I mean, I always love watching Connor's videos online. ᴠᴘ has been a source of inspiration for a really, really long time. I just think, similar to kind of how Tim spins, I think that he has such an incredible grasp of such a vast multitude of frameworks and the way that they fit into each other. It's incredible, and I've always been inspired by that, and he continues to get better, and I'm just like, where is the limit? Like, this is crazy.
Dude, his brain is just like a fucking massive spider web that's just fucking strung together in a billion different ways. Yeah, shout out to Connor. His episode is actually out right now, episode 15. If you haven't seen it, go back and watch it. He has so many interesting ideas and perspectives, takes on poi and the way, just essentially what he values in poi, and it's just fantastic. So another great mention. Connor is the man. Shout out to you, Connor.
Yes, absolutely.
Sweet. Well, I'm gonna turn it over to Joey with he's gonna ask a question that he himself personally wrote for you. So it's a special segment. I'm going to turn it over to Joey whenever he's ready.
Go ahead. What is up? Hello. So yeah, I get to ask a question for once, so that's pretty cool. So I wanted to know, what is your biggest pet peeve when you're flowing? Is it a rope rubbing you wrong? Is it staff falling down and hitting this one spot over and over again? Or is it the sun in your eyes? Like, what's your biggest pet peeve?
Oh man. I mean, okay, so I can think of a couple. One is external and one is internal. So external is when I'm in the fire circle. I really don't like people cracking whips. It's very distracting, and I'm very stimulated by loud noises. So it really like activates my nervous system, and it makes me feel kind of like in flight or fight mode. And it makes me kind of just like shut down and not be able to focus on spinning. So like, no hate to people who spin whips, because I respect everybody's ability to
no hate, but get those whips out of here, dog. Just kidding.
It's mostly just like if someone's like cracking it and I don't know, and I hear that like loud pop behind me, it really freaks me out. But personally, I like to grab the heads of poi when they're on fire a lot, and so I get a lot of blisters on my hands. And so it's really annoying to spin poi when you have pre-existing and or popped blisters on your hands, and it gets kind of like hard to hold on to stuff when they're all over your fingers.
Dude.
So that's definitely a rough one, because like at a certain point you just like don't have the grip strength to do what you want to do because you're just like pushing down on an open wound. So I definitely say that's also a pretty big pet peeve.
Dude, quick story. I was at a festival. It's a local festival that like our friends and whatever our crew here does in Idaho. But we were at this festival. I showed up. Again, I'm not a music festival guy. It's a music festival, okay? But I show up and I burned all night, bro. I burned like into like 5 or 6 in the morning, and I wake up the next day and my fingers are just devastated with blisters, dude. And I was like, yep, I'm literally going home. Like, I'm not gonna there's no reason for me to be here anymore. I can't spin. I'm out. Like, it was the reason that I was here ever. So I'm goodbye. I literally packed up my stuff and left. It was the second day, and I was like, nope, I'm out. Yeah, it was valid as fuck. Blisters, dog. So, and then one more. Did I have something else? I want you to give us some shout outs. And I know you had kind of, already said inspirations. This could be anybody you want. So go ahead and just shout out anybody that you feel like.
Definitely. I would love to shout out the day one homies. So that'd be James Arbios and Kevin Bjornstrom. Kevin Bjornstrom is Grid Gremlin on Instagram. You could definitely check him out. He does some dope rope dart. He's learning triple staff. He spins poi. Just an all-around great person. 5 original poi inspirations from Reno. So Ben Wise and Jordan Taylor, rest in peace to both of them, unfortunately. But also Cody Carraway, Hendo, and Maddie Way. I love you guys. You guys are amazing. And then my partners, Melissa and Elena, wonderful human beings, beautiful people, who support and love me. And yeah, I think those are the people I would really like to know that they deserve some love and a shout out.
Fantastic. Yeah, no, I really appreciate that. And honestly, this has been such a fun episode. I feel like we got through a lot of topics and this just flew by. So anybody that, again, gets this far, we so much appreciate you. Let us know what you liked about the episode in the comments. Support Jax in any way that you can. Find him on Instagram. Hit him up if you ever have any questions or any of that stuff. He's a super friendly guy. So episode 17, man, thank you again for being a part of this. It truly does mean a lot. I appreciate you taking the time to dive into all that stuff for this, man.
Yeah, of course. Thank you so much for having me on. And thank you for doing this. Like, you're doing this. This is part of the culture, dude. Like, you're documenting important stories from people that otherwise would just eventually get lost, you know? Like, you're
totally
creating a record of things from a community that doesn't really document its stories. Like, it does post its videos, but like, what about all of the legacy and the history that went into that? I really feel like you're creating a platform for that stuff. And I think that's amazing.
It's important, man. It's important. I mean, for folks like yourself and all the rest of us that just want to hear us talk about, you know, these concepts in deeper fashion. So that's a fantastic way to close it out, man. We'll go ahead and wrap it up. But peace out, y'all. We'll see you on the next episode.